Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Pause on that. Two simple lines that shift the whole game. They don't promise a life without storms. They promise something harder to steal. Your response? Let's be honest. Modern life trains us to hide. We hide mistakes. We hide doubts. We hide the parts of ourselves we think will disqualify us. But the truth is this: hiding costs more than being seen. It costs connection, creativity, and momentum. Brown put it plainly. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. That's not poetic fluff. It's practical. When you refuse to be seen, you also refuse the feedback, risk, and failure that propel progress. You remain safe and small. But when you risk being seen, you open the door to everything new. Think of the last time you admitted you didn't know something at work, or you apologized to a friend. For a second, fear may have shown up. Maybe you worried about being judged, but what often followed was relief, respect, or a new idea. Those moments, small and awkward, move lives forward. And vulnerability isn't only emotional, it's intellectual. It means saying, "I might be wrong," before you defend an idea. It's creative risk. Sharing a half-formed song, a draft article, a startup pitch. If you wait for perfect, you wait forever. The first draft, the imperfect remix, the awkward conversation, those imperfect acts are the seeds of growth. Let's connect this to habit and systems. James Clear teaches that small daily habits compound. Courage and vulnerability are habits too. They can be practiced and strengthened. If you show up honestly once, it becomes easier to do it twice. If you ask for feedback once, it becomes easier to ask again. Tiny, brave actions compound into a bolder life. Now, I want to walk you through 3 short, practical steps to build courage and make vulnerability a muscle rather than a rare event. Use these like exercises, repeat them daily, and treat progress like practice, not perfection. First, the one-sentence truth. Every morning, write one short sentence that names what you're avoiding. It can be as small as, "I will ask for clarity today," or "I will admit when I'm stuck." Keep it visible. This clear sentence becomes your moral compass for the day. It moves your attention from avoidance to action. Second, the micro. Pick one small, high-leverage act of vulnerability each day. Not the grand confession. The small step, a 5-word message, "Can we talk about yesterday?" A short email, "I'd love feedback on this idea." A quick admission, "I don't have the answer." These micro-acts desensitize your fear and build confidence. Over time, the small risks you take rewire your identity. From I hide to I show up. Third, the reflection loop. Each evening, ask 3 questions. 1. What honest thing did I do today? 2. What did I learn from it? 3. How did it move me forward? Write the answers. This simple loop trains your brain to notice progress rather than punish yourself for imperfection. Now, let's break down why these practices matter for different parts of life: relationships, work, and personal growth. In relationships, vulnerability is the soil of trust. If you never say what you need, your partner can't meet you. If you never apologize, resentment piles up. But when you risk a small truth, you invite reciprocity. Curiosity replaces defensiveness. A relationship that tolerates tough conversations becomes a relationship that grows, not collapses. In work, vulnerability fuels collaboration. Teams that share doubts early solve problems faster. When leaders model vulnerability, "I don't know, let's test this," they create permission for others to experiment. That permission multiplies creativity. Think of innovators who shared half-finished prototypes and got feedback that turned good ideas into breakthroughs. They risked criticism and gained iteration. That's vulnerability turned into progress. For personal growth, vulnerability unlocks learning. If you hide failures, you also hide lessons. The person who owns their mistakes sees patterns and changes trajectory. Viktor Frankl taught that meaning comes from choosing one's attitude in any situation. Vulnerability is the first step to choosing wisely, because it reveals truth. You might be thinking, this sounds risky. Won't I be hurt? Yes. Sometimes vulnerability leads to pain. Sometimes people will misinterpret you. But avoiding vulnerability guarantees one result: stasis. Risk produces both pain and possibility. Over time, the possibility outweighs the pain because you have access to connection, insight, and momentum. That's a net positive. Let me give you a few short, concrete examples. Example 1. A manager who admits she made a mistake on a project. Instead of burying it, she says to the team, "I dropped the ball on the timeline. Here's what I'll do to fix it." The team responds with solutions, trust deepens, and future communication improves. Because the manager modeled responsibility and invited help. Example 2. An artist posts an unfinished track online with the caption, "Work in progress." Thoughts? She gets feedback that shapes the final piece, and the collaboration builds audience loyalty, because people feel invited into the process. Example 3. A friend says, "I've been distant, I'm struggling." That admission opens a conversation, not judgment. You'd be surprised how often the honest opening dissolves tension and brings people closer. Now, guardrails. How to be vulnerable wisely. Vulnerability isn't oversharing without purpose. It's purposeful honesty. Ask yourself, is this the right person? Is this the right time? Is my motive to connect or to vent? When you answer yes, proceed. When unsure, start smaller. Vulnerability with discretion is courage with wisdom. Let's return to habit mechanics. How do you make vulnerability automatic? Habit stack it. Pair one brave act with an existing habit. For example, after your morning coffee, existing habit, send one clarifying message to a colleague, vulnerable act. Or after brushing your teeth at night, write one sentence that names something you avoided that day. Stack the new habit on the old, and it becomes easier to sustain. Now, here's a challenge to finish with. For the next 7 days, commit to a simple plan. Day 1, write one sentence, truth, in the morning. Day 2, send one clarifying message. Day 3, ask for feedback on something small. Day 4, admit a mistake and offer a next step. Day 5, share a half-finished idea publicly. Day 6, reach out to someone you've been avoiding. Day 7, journal 3 honest lessons and 1 celebration. Do this sequence not to prove you're brave, but to train the muscle of honesty. Notice how small acts yield surprising returns. Notice how your fear diminishes and curiosity grows. Notice how relationships, work, and creativity respond when you invite truth. Before we close, carry these anchor quotes with you. Epictetus: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Brown: "Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change." James Clear: "Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement." Combine these 3 truths, and you have a formula. Small, honest acts, repeated daily, produce exponential growth. So what honest act will you take today? A text, an apology, a question, a rough draft? Pick one. Do it. Then come back and notice what shifts. Remember, courage isn't loud. Often it's the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, "I'll try again tomorrow." Be that person who chooses to show up. Be the one who risks being seen, because being seen is how you move. Follow MySoloSky for more daily mindset shifts. that move you forward. Practice the small, brave acts. Tend your courage like a garden. Over time, the harvest will surprise you.